And welcome back and happy holidays, everyone. I want to provide you guys an update regarding brand new home sales in the US. This is because the US Census Bureau just announced brand new home sales as of the end of November here. So I have a lot to share in today's video. This is a monthly video I make for you guys, and actually really enjoy making this weekly or actually monthly update for you guys. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Again, this is for November 2022, just posted on December 23rd. And this is a report from the US Census Bureau. And by the way, the stats in today's video only include brand new single family houses, brand new home construction for single family houses, which obviously excludes multifamily and commercial properties as well. And when I talk about a new home sale, this is a friendly reminder because this is really acting like a pending home sale. When a home builder accepts an offer or accepts a deposit from a home buyer. That's what they define as a home sale. And a home sale can occur prior to a permit being issued. In other words, a home sale can occur on a dirt lot in which the home is not going to be built for 6 to 12 months from now. Now, having said that, let's talk about what's happening right now with brand new home sales as well as housing inventory for brand new homes as well. Again, only single family houses. So this table right here is in thousands of units. And houses that sold, these are seasonally adjusted annualized rates. These are annualized rates right now. So the number of houses that sold in November was 640,000 on an annualized basis here. That increased actually by 5.8% compared to October 2022, because back in October, there was 605,000 on an annualized basis. But compared to 1 year ago, on an annualized basis, home sales decreased by 15.3%. And the main driver of this 15% decrease on a year-over-year basis was actually coming from the West, because in the West, home sales declined by almost 27%. Also in the South, declined by 15%. In stark contrast, though, look at the Northeast. The Northeast, home sales increased by 26.5% on a year-over-year basis. There's a couple more things I want to mention regarding brand new home sales in the US, because at 640,000, again, the annualized pace, this is actually above the street's forecast, because the street was forecasting for about 600,000 home sales on an annualized basis. And it actually came in a little bit higher than that at 640,000. One other thing I want to mention regarding home sales here, any mention regarding home sales in today's video, again, this is acting like a pending home sale when the home builder accepts an offer from a home buyer. So this actually excludes any cancellations though, right? So they don't go back and say, hey, did the Johnson family, they signed a contract 2 months ago. Did they end up buying the house? The Census Bureau doesn't track that information. So they don't actually track cancellation rates. They only track contracts being signed between builders and sellers. I mean, builders and home buyers, of course, home builders and home buyers. So they don't track cancellation rates. So speaking of cancellation rates, John Burns Real Estate Consulting posted this on their Twitter page here. This is actually from Rick Palacios Jr., who's who works for John Burns Real Estate. Anyways, for October, they actually looked at October 2022 compared to last year, October 2021, regarding cancellation rates that builders are reporting here. So the national average for cancellation rates as of October this year was 26%. 1 year ago, it was only 8%. So we went from 8% back in 2021, now it's 26%. So nearly 3 times a share right now, or at least as of the end of October, compared to 1 year ago. Look at this though, the Southwest. 1 year ago, the cancellation rate was only 9%. Now it's a whopping 45%. Also for the state of Texas, the cancellation rate's 39%, whereas 1 year ago, only 12%. Huge cancellation rates in the Northwest as well, 30% compared to 7% right now. And again, the national average is 26%. Below that number, though, is actually in the Midwest at 21%, Florida at 20%, the Southeast at 19%, and the Northeast only 11% cancellation rate. But these cancellation rates at 26% on a national level is not encompassing these numbers right here, because this is based on contracts being signed. So because of all these cancellation rates that builders are announcing right now, we're seeing huge cancellation rates in some marketplace. So in Boise, Idaho, for example, this builder right here said we're experiencing a 55% cancellation rate so far in November. So it's taking 2 gross sales in order to get to 1 net sale. So when you're looking at the Census Bureau reporting 2 home sales, for example, the net effect is only 1 home sale for this builder here in Boise. So here's what John Burns did. They actually took a quick look at new home sales and adjusted it for cancellation rates. So take a look at this, because for the second half of the year, cancellation rates absolutely spiked. So here's a look at gross home sales reported each month going back to January 2022. So in January 2022, there was 70,000 new home sales reported on a national level. Obviously, this is not an annualized number here. So when accounting for the cancellation rates back in January 2022, the net effect is only 64,000 home sales. But going back to November though, look at this. There was 46,000 brand new single family houses that were sold. When you account for cancellation rates, the net effect is only a net of new home sales of only 35,000. This is because the cancellation rate is approximately 25%. So just keep that in mind when looking at this data in today's video, because when looking at the gross new home sales, you really have to account for cancellation rates of around 25% right now. So let's go back to the report here. So again, 640,000 is the analyzed rate right now. But of course, when accounting for cancellation rates, this is obviously going to be much, much lower, probably below 600,000. Let's also have a look at Uncle Fred's website as well for brand new home sales. At the time of this video, they actually haven't updated their website just yet, so it actually is 640,000. Let's look at the past 10 years though, actually past 5 years though. So 640,000 is the annualized rate right now. Actually look at pre-COVID levels at 640,000. This is the lowest levels since May of 2019, because back in May 2019, there was 620,000. It's worth noting though that 640,000, this is much higher than the levels we had back in July, because back in July, there was only 543,000 brand new single family home sales on an annualized basis. Now there's 640,000. Let's also have a look at housing inventory for brand new single family houses. So there's approximately 461,000 brand new single family houses that are for sale in the US. These are not annualized numbers here. These are seasonally adjusted, but not annualized. So approximately 461,000. Look at this, 461,000. This is lower than October when we had 470,000, but it's 461,000. This is on par with levels we saw back in March of 2008. Because back in March 2008, there was 470,000. A couple more things worth noting regarding housing inventory for brand new houses. It actually decreased by 1.7% from 1 month ago. This is actually the first decrease of housing inventory so far this year. But having said that, we're still up by 18.2% on a year-over-year basis. Let's also have a look at the month supply of brand new houses. So the month supply right now is 8.6 months. It's actually a decrease of 7.5% on a month-over-month basis, and also much lower compared to the highs we saw back in July when the month supply was 10.1 months. Now it's 8.6 months. But compared to 1 year ago, we're still up by almost 39%. Let's also talk about home prices for brand new single-family houses. So 1 year ago, the median sold price was $430,000. Fast forward to today, at least through the end of November, the median sold price was $471,200. By my math, that's a 9.5% increase on a year-over-year basis. One thing that's very important to mention here is that prices for brand new houses tend to fluctuate greatly in this report here. This is because there's a far fewer brand new houses that are selling compared to the resale market. So for example, for November, there was only 46,000 houses that sold compared to on the resale side for November, there's approximately 326,000. So when looking at home prices for brand new houses, we tend to have these fluctuations month to month because we don't have as many home sales compared to the resale market here. So again, 46,000 for brand new houses that sold compared to existing houses. There was approximately 326,000 for the month of November. Therefore, because the sample size for brand new home sales is so much smaller than the resale market, we tend to see these fluctuations in home prices on the month-to-month basis. Having said that, home prices right now are so much higher compared to pre-COVID levels. Because look at this, here's Uncle Fred's website again for the home prices for brand new single-family houses. So from 2017 all the way until the early parts of 2020, the median sold price in the US was in the low 300,000s. It actually never surpassed 350,000. That's from 2017 to 2020, at least the early parts of 2020. But ever since then, especially ever since June of 2020, home prices absolutely skyrocketed until levels we have right now of about 471,000. And obviously because home prices are so much more right now compared to pre-COVID levels, we have a lack of housing affordability in the US. So speaking of a lack of housing affordability, have a look at this. These are for houses that sold by price range. This is a percent distribution. So for houses that sold in November for over $750,000, that represented 17% of all home sales. Going back 1 year ago, that percentage was only 10%. Now it's 17% of the houses that sold in November sold for over $750,000. In stark contrast though, look at this. Houses that sold in the range of $200,000 to $300,000 1 year ago, 12% of all houses that sold were in that price range, $200,000 to $300,000. Now it's only 7%. Therefore, we're seeing fewer houses that are selling in the lower range of the market and more houses selling in the upper range. Let's also have a look at the number of houses that sold by stage of construction. So not yet started, in other words, the construction has not started, under construction, or a completed house. These are houses that sold. So again, 640,000 is the annualized number here for home sales. Again, more like a pending home sale for November. So the vast majority of these houses that sold were actually houses under construction, 280,000 versus only 184,000 that were actually completed houses that sold. It's also worth noting here that at 280,000, again, the analyzed rate right here, it's still the highest out of these different stages here, but still much less than 1 year ago, because 1 year ago, there was 392,000 houses that sold that were under construction on an annualized basis. In stark contrast though, let's have a look at the number of houses for sale by stage of construction. So again, not yet started, under construction, as well as completed. So out of the houses that are for sale at 461,000, again, that's not an annualized number, 461,000, the vast majority of those houses that are for sale are actually under construction, 290,000. To be exact. So the vast majority of houses for sale are actually under construction, 290,000. In stark contrast though, look at houses that are completed but are for sale. 64,000 is the number of houses for sale that are completed right now, which is more or less double the share we had back in March of this year, when back in March of this year, we had approximately 32,000. Now it's 64,000. It's worth mentioning though, as a note right here, is that at 64,000, this only represents about 14% of all new single-family houses that are for sale as of the end of November. Because 64,000 only represents about 14% of the 461,000 total houses for sale. So the number of houses that are completed that are for sale are still at very low levels when looking at other stages of construction here, but it has been increasing steadily for the past 8 months in a row, because it has been increasing ever since April of this year. And again, it has doubled since March of this year. This is something definitely we should be following though, and I'll definitely keep you posted with the latest developments here, because if this number absolutely increases big time, whereas a lot of builders have a lot of completed houses in which they can't sell, that's going to be a big issue. So far, it's not a big issue just yet, but this increase is definitely something worth noting. And speaking of completed houses for sale, the month supply of completed houses for sale is only 1.9 months. This is the month supply for completed houses, only 1.9 months. It was actually below levels back in November 2021, when the month supply for completed houses was only 2.9 months. Now it's 1.9 months. So I know it was a lot to share in today's video, so I actually want to provide a summary of today's video. And I actually forgot to provide this, so I'm making this 10 minutes after I actually recorded the video already. Anyways, here's a summary for you guys because I actually forgot to revive one for you guys. So there was a 640,000 single-family home sales on an annualized basis. Again, this is based on contracts being signed, so it's really acting like a pending home sale. It excludes cancellations. So that's a 15% decrease on a year-over-year basis, even though we saw a slight increase on a month-over-month basis. Also at 640,000, that beats expectations, or the street's expectations, of 600,000 home sales. And also when looking at current levels at 640,000, looking at pre-COVID levels, we're at the lowest amount of new single-family home sales since May of 2019. Talking about housing inventory, there's approximately 461 brand new single-family houses that are for sale. Those are not annualized numbers here. And by the way, a new home for sale is not a completed house. It can be a dirt lot, for example. So new home construction, there's 461,000 brand new homes for sale. That's down 1.7% on a month-over-month basis, the first decrease so far this year. However, though, inventory has increased 18% compared to November 2021. The month supply is sitting at 8.6 months. This is still elevated levels, obviously still high levels, but the second consecutive decrease we've been seeing over the past couple of months. That's what you mean by second consecutive decrease. 2 consecutive months. Yeah, duh. Jason fail. Anyways, home prices. The median sold price in the US for brand new single-family houses is at $471,000 as of the end of November. That's a 9.5% increase on a year-over-year basis. Also much higher than pre-COVID levels because back in 2017 to 2019, home prices were in the range of $300,000 to just under $350,000. Now they're $471,000. And obviously, like I mentioned, the median sold price for brand new houses tend to fluctuate greatly because of the sample size. Again, 46,000 is the actual number of home sales for November compared to 326,000 of existing home sales for November, according to the National Association of Realtors. Also, the number of completed houses for sale has more or less doubled since March of this year. This only represents about 14% of all new single-family houses that are for sale as of the end of November, though. And here's my advice for you guys if you guys are looking to buy a brand new house. In my personal opinion, it's very risky to put a deposit down on a dirt lot right now. This is what I've been saying all year to you guys because I believe it's very risky because of volatility in rates, because mortgage rates have been fluctuating so much. If you put a deposit down on a dirt lot, oftentimes you can't lock in your mortgage rate until the house is completed. Some builders, I should say probably a lot of builders, are offering buy downs on your rate. They're offering incentives right now. But in my personal opinion, it's still very risky to put a deposit down on a dirt lot in which the house is not going to be built 6 to 12 months from now. And here's my advice for you guys where you're looking to buy a brand new house or an existing house. Buy if you find a home you love. Also, buy only if you can afford that house and only if you plan to own it for at least 7 to 10 plus years. In contrast, do not buy if you're going to stretch your finances and you have short-term time horizons. When people call me up and say, hey, Jason, I want to buy a house, I ask them, well, how long do you plan to live there? How long do you plan to own the house? And they say, 1 to 2 years. I'd say just rent, because in the short term, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen to our housing market. But in the long term, 7 to 10 plus years, chances are you're not going to be riding out these ebbs and flows of our housing market. And of course, do not buy if you can't stomach the fact that your home value may decrease in the short term. So if you're one of those people that go onto Redfin or to Zillow and look at the estimation of your house, if you can't stomach the fact that home prices may decrease in the near term, it may not be a good time to buy a house. And with that said, please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And I, of course, appreciate you. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video.